shining sea.
All right,
Good
welcome everybody.
evening. How's it going?
Welcome to the fourth episode of No Nonsense Tonight. Mitch, how you been, man?
It's been a week, man. It's been a long week, but we're getting through it. How
Yep.
about you? How have you been?
Same. Long week. Spent the day today putting down a floor in our entryway over here. Been doing that for a couple months now with the bathroom saga that's been going on. So
Always
finally
fun.
got that floor down, and now I just got to put down some baseboard and paint and do all that tomorrow, and then I'm on to a new project because we're trying to move here in the next couple months or so. So I got to wrap up these projects around here, get this place ready to go. So
Yeah,
my
sounds
legs
like a lot of
killing me,
fun.
man. I feel like I think I tweaked a nerve or something, dude. I'm telling you, I was like, I'm taking turmeric and ibuprofen, and I'm over here drinking now, just trying to, because it's, I don't know, it's just that shooting pain from my knee all the way down to my ankle, and hands locked up
Yeah,
on me earlier because I guess I was dehydrated or something. So anyway,
yeah, man. You gotta drink more water. Water's
uh,
key. But what are we talking about tonight?
well, honestly, this week, kind of at the beginning of the week, there wasn't a whole lot that happened, and
Yeah,
then
not a real news heavy week.
yeah, I mean, things happened, but and the thing is there's a lot that actually happened, but just compared to every other Trump speed week, uh, this week
Yeah,
wasn't really that bad. So first of all, I think the funeral was this morning. So the Pope died.
yes,
So
yes,
we all saw
absolutely,
that, and that's very sad, of
yes,
course. Whether or not whether or not you agree with said Pope or anything like that, it's always sad whenever somebody dies. And,
yeah. That's
they
still a
actually had
human
to,
being who deserves respect.
yeah, absolutely. And that was the funeral. They had the funeral this morning at 3 a.m. Apparently, JD Vance has death touch. So I was really surprised I didn't see more liberals talking about that because he met with the Pope on Easter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was one of the
So they
last people
call him,
to shake the Pope's
call him the
hand.
one, the one issue. They don't
Do
have
what?
anything else. They don't have any other instances where he's touched somebody and killed them.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess not. I was surprised, like I said, that more liberals didn't go with that and try to make a big deal out of that. Honestly,
I mean, it's just not. I mean, you're really throwing lawn darts there, I guess. I mean, there's not much to go with, honestly.
well, I mean, famously, the Pope did say some things about JD Vance specifically that were kind of inflammatory. So it, yeah, I thought for sure that was going to be something that they were going to run with, but instead, we also have a new update in the Garcia saga. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so that keeps going on. We had the Hegseth signal chat thing. Um, there's actually some things with the Supreme Court that uh, that happened. That's interesting. Courts in general, the judges, uh, and student loans. You are not forgiven.
no, no.
Yeah.
Uh, Also, the 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 wonderful contestants on Jeff Bezos's ride. We should probably acknowledge that too, because they're
Yeah.
not astronauts. Let's
Yeah.
let's 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 say that weird thing, and they're not astronauts. They went for a ride. Congratulations. Lots of people have done it. that same altitude. Is it fun? I'm sure. Was it a blast? I bet. Once in a lifetime ride? Sure. But are you an astronaut? Did you do anything important? No. No. And then to come back and act like we should just worship the ground even more so than what they already believe is just ridiculous, in my opinion. These women are all the worst
Well,
examples of the left.
well, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that now, that they didn't even actually go up in space.
Right. Right.
I mean, so and the way that you look at it, I think the biggest one for me that bothers me is the door on the capsule. The fact that they opened it before Bezos came over and quote unquote unlocked it. So that was for sure staged,
Well,
right?
yeah, 100%. That was for a photo op.
Yeah.
1,000% at the very
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. But beyond that, the fact that the door opened inward, and those doors are typically built to open outward
Well,
because of the pressure,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And those doors are usually bolted onto the subframe, I believe. Or
yeah,
they used to be. But yeah, I believe the doors are
yeah,
still
you actually have
bolted
to have a
shut.
real tool to open them, not some fake
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah,
Bezos
and they're
did,
not
right?
open from the
That was the
inside.
fake, right?
Well, what he had is obviously fake. He had a quote unquote key, I guess, or a handle,
Yeah,
something to
some
open
type
it.
of
But
special tool that he used. Yeah,
yeah. And maybe they're designed because they don't go all the way out there to space, and they don't have to deal with the same kind of re-entry, because that's what really gets a lot of the rockets is the re-entry,
yeah,
right? And that's part of, I guess, part of the criticism and part of the conspiracy is there's no evidence of re-entry on the
right,
capsule, which they didn't go high enough to have those kind of same problems. They didn't run into the massive heating. They didn't need all the heat shielding and this extra reinforced door and things like that to withstand all
right.
those pressures and heat because, like I said, they weren't astronauts. They just went up for a really, really high space flight or airplane ride, basically. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's like the Red Bull skydiver that
yeah,
jumped off the hot air balloon.
yeah.
Do you consider him an astronaut? Because that's the same,
Same altitude. Yeah,
yeah, area there.
yep.
Uh, so yeah, so they're not astronauts clearly.
No,
Um, but again, I'm not even sure that they were in that thing, honestly, because just the way that played out. I mean, okay, let's say that you don't have to have a door that opens outward, right? Because of the pressure.
right.
Why would you why would you not do that anyway? Right? I mean, that's kind of a, like, either yeah, they did go up in space or up in the atmosphere, and the door opens inward and nothing bad happened and whatever. But also, um it's kind of just a bad design choice, right? Like, why would you put the people in there at additional risk, especially given that none of them were in spacesuits, right?
Uh, from what I could tell, it looked like just basic jumpsuits the entire time. It didn't.
Yeah, they didn't have helmets on because that would ruin the
Well,
photo op, right?
well, that would imply that there wasn't a loss of pressure or any chance of losing pressure, because I mean that's what a lot of the spacesuit does is to maintain that pressure on your body and to
Right.
keep that all around you. So it just kind of, yeah, if anything, it definitely affirms the fact that they did not go nearly as high as they like to claim they did.
Right.
It's definitely suspicious. I mean, could they have? I mean, did they even need a spacesuit? We don't know. Would it have been smart to at least have a helmet on?
Well, so I mean, it's like
Probably. I
a fail
mean,
safe, right? Like, okay, you have a door that swings inward, which isn't really great given the design and pressures that you're dealing with, right? So, as a fail safe, you should probably wear a spacesuit, right? So
well,
that way, if
you
that
don't
door
need to.
fails, you're not.
You're not high enough for it to be an issue. you're not at like a vacuum state.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
the
I mean,
well,
you'd have problems. I mean, don't get me
you'd have no
wrong.
oxygen, right? I mean, that's part of the
I
problem,
don't,
right?
I don't think they went high enough to. I mean, temporarily, it'd be like a plane having a breach at high altitude. You know, you're going to have your backup oxygen safeties that kick in automatically the moment you have any kind of a fluctuation outside of tolerance. And it's, I can see them getting away without spacesuits, but like I said, they're not going out to outer space. They're
No, they're not in outer space by any means.
not even low Earth orbit. You know, they're just barely touching some of the outer layers of the atmosphere, and I think that's how they're able to get away with it. I think it's
Maybe that's why
basically
the door
just,
opens inward because it's pressurized from the inside.
yeah, it could be. I mean, I consider it very much more so of jetliner versus actual rocket ship. Like it's much more reminiscent the way it
Yeah.
functions, the way it carries its
Oh,
passengers and the crew and everything. It's much more like an airplane than it
yeah.
is a rocket.
Wasn't that Richard Branson who was the other one that was competing with Bezos on this whole thing, and his was actually like a really high
Well,
altitude plane, I thought.
his went higher, but it still didn't hit space. That was the thing. Yeah, it was still,
Yeah.
he went into, I believe, what was low Earth orbit. I may be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, he definitely reached, I believe, a higher altitude than Bezos and the girls. And yeah, those guys did have special suits that they wore with helmets that had oxygen pumped in, to my knowledge. I'm not
Yeah.
real familiar on the whole flight.
Yeah,
Everything
well,
has been a
I
while.
probably just need to do more research into it, honestly, and just
Yeah,
understand like what are the pressures that you're dealing with? Like how high were they first of all, and then what type of pressures are you dealing with, and would it make sense for the door to open inward or outward? Now, the other thing is that they didn't have any footage from inside the rocket, I guess, when they were going up or coming back down, which was kind of
um,
weird. So they had it all
yeah,
from the outside, but they didn't have anything on the inside, which is weird.
yeah. The only footage I saw of the inside was them like in float,
Yeah,
you
floating
know.
around, right?
Well, and they weren't even floating around, from my understanding. They were in free fall.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I saw that too. That like if you look at what was it, Gail, the other astronaut lady that came back that was stuck out there for several months, her hair
No,
was constantly floating straight up, right?
that wasn't Gail. Gail was the one that went on the space flight.
Oh,
I can't.
okay. Sorry.
Gail
I
King.
can't remember the other lady's name, but you
I
know who I'm
can't
talking about.
either.
The lady that
Yeah,
was up there for
yeah,
several months. Her hair was constantly straight up, whereas all these other ladies, their hair was floating, but it was all down. None of it was just kind of
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah. You can
You
see
know
it
what I
go
mean?
up, and then it kind of settle back down as
Right.
that aircraft is doing its ups and downs like a roller coaster. That's how they do it. That's how astronauts practice originally. Is they get in an aircraft that has all the seats pulled out of it. They put you in it. They go really, really high, and then they go straight down. And then you're falling is the experience of
Sunny.
floating in space, and then
Sunny
right
Williams, that was
back
her name.
up is, you're
Yes,
back
ma'am.
down onto the bottom of the plane. Thank you, Amanda. So I really, it's like I said, it's a glorified
Yeah, it's
jetliner.
a
I
glorified
mean,
carnival ride for millionaires, right?
yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
sad part about it. The hypocrisy of these people to sit there and talk about global warming's the greatest threat to society and mankind, and then to put all of that CO2 emission out just for a photo shoot.
yeah, for a ride.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
nothing
did
is
you
scientific.
accomplish? You
Nothing,
accomplished
absolutely
nothing.
nothing.
And then they criticize Elon Musk while he's actually doing scientific expeditions and missions and
Yeah,
helping NASA and
literally rescued an astronaut. Yeah,
yeah. I'm like, what the hell? So anyway, it's a typical left, typical hypocrisy. I mean, they say one thing, but they don't ever live by their values, and it's hilarious every time you get to expose them. So I did think that was funny.
yeah, it
Um,
entertained me for sure.
Yeah, so man, so the Garcia thing, the the Maryland dad, Maryland father, right?
Yeah,
That guy, and
been swatted
then
3
that
times now that I know of.
he what?
He's been swatted 3 times that I know of now.
He's been swatted.
Yeah, the father of the son.
Oh no! I was talking about the illegal immigrant that got
Oh,
deported.
oh, oh, yeah, yeah, my
Oh
bad, my bad.
yeah, but yeah, that's another thing. The what's his name? That
I
case
can't
where the
remember.
kid stabbed the other
Yeah,
kid.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Well,
Anthony,
just so we give you a quick update on the illegal immigrant. So of course, originally it was the Maryland father. Then he got deported, and then it comes out that he had all these ties to MS-13 and all that, and so he's a foreign domestic terrorist. And then there were the appellate courts found that he was, he basically had his due process and was found to need to be deported based on his status.
yeah,
And now he wasn't supposed to be deported to El Salvador, right? Like that was the thing. But
right, deported,
yeah,
but yeah, they got the wrong country on that one.
yeah, they gave him the wrong plane ticket, basically, is what it came down to.
Yeah,
But now it's like, okay, well, the guy's there. If he were to come back, all that's going to happen is they're going to throw a stamp on a piece of paper, and he's going to go right back
yeah,
somewhere.
just to a different country. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's still an
Well,
illegal immigrant at the end of the day.
yeah. And then but then it was like, the left, they kind of they called him the Maryland father, and then it came out that he had all these ties to MS-13, was with MS-13 gang members whenever he got picked up, and he had some tattoos that suggested that he was wearing some paraphernalia that would suggest that he was part of this gang or whatever. There was the confidential informant, uh, and just the courts as decisions as well. The reason why he wasn't supposed to be deported to El Salvador specifically was fear of retaliation from a rival gang. So they found all that out, and then they changed it to from Maryland father to Maryland man, right?
Yeah,
Then you find out that his wife had a restraining order against him, and then so here's the thing, and then there was the thing where he got a driving with no license ticket in Tennessee, uh, because and during that there's like body cam footage. He was with 8 other guys in this car. I think it was 8, and none of them had any luggage. And he was saying that they were driving from Texas to Maryland on some type of uh work thing or
vacation
whatever. Like that was
for
for
the work.
work, that that they were going to a job site. That's what it was. He said something about a job site. And so it's like, okay, well, that's human trafficking is what that is, clearly. And the cop even said he suspected it, but he really couldn't do anything about it at the time, so didn't do anything about it at the time, unfortunately for all of us, I guess. But anyway, so then it comes out that in that report he said that he was driving his boss's car, right? Well, they did a little research and found out that the car that he was driving belonged to a known human trafficker.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, oh man, I mean, they just can't win, dude. They just
Can't
can't
make it
win.
up.
So, I mean,
Can't make it up.
oh man. And then you had that senator that went there, and then apparently there's a few other representatives that have gone to El Salvador and saying that they're not coming back until he gets returned. I don't know if they're still there or not, but I hope they realize he ain't coming back.
No.
Like, I don't
Hope they packed
know.
a lot of bags.
Yeah, no shit. And I don't
And
know
stay
about
there.
how friendly El Salvador is to, to
That's
representatives of the United States.
that's not really my concern if they're going down there for that reason. They ain't going down there on my behalf, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, and then you had another woman, and we played the video last week of the one mother that her daughter was raped and murdered by that that other illegal immigrant in Maryland, right? So that was the contrast, was that senator from Maryland was willing to hop on a plane and fly halfway across the world
Yeah.
to go try and talk to this guy and get a photo op and say, "Oh, I'm going to bring you back." Meanwhile, his actual constituents, actual American citizens, are facing these atrocious crimes, and he's just not even can't even pick up the phone to call them. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really the contrast for me, is you can't even pick up the phone. It was like Biden with Russia. I
Yeah.
mean, Russia invaded Ukraine, and that prick couldn't even pick up the phone to talk to Putin
Yeah.
about, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Let's discuss this. Why? Yeah.
Like,
There's other
that's
options.
you can't really have a resolution without communication. And
Yeah.
so that just shows to me that he didn't want a resolution. Like, that all of that was exactly what he wanted, you
Yeah.
know? So anyway, yeah, that's cracks me up with the whole thing. I mean, and then apparently there was another illegal immigrant that killed another woman in Maryland as well. So there was another incident there.
Oh yeah. There's a channel. I believe it's called Code Blue Cam on YouTube. Let me tell you, they post just body cam footage of police officers almost daily, and there is a big uptick in illegals committing crimes and getting arrested.
Hmm,
It's ridiculous,
yeah. Well, I
and they're
guess kind
violent
of,
crimes.
yeah.
These
Well,
guys aren't
that
just jaywalkers.
no, no. Uh, yeah, I guess that kind of leads us into this other thing. These activist judges that we've heard about. I mean, so we saw it with Trump, right? All the cases against him, changing statutes of limitation. I mean, that's not just judges, that's lawmakers and governors and all that. But changing statute of limitations in order to charge someone with a crime and then changing them back after charging that person with the crime is
Yeah,
pretty explicit. Uh, and then you had the New York case where he was charged with basically overvaluing his properties, I think, and like all the other, if anyone's ever bought or sold a home, kind of understand that that's how that works. Like, you're of course you're going to say your property's worth more than what it is in order to get a loan. Like, you're not defrauding anyone. And then if the bank is the one that gives you, like, they do their own analysis as well. Like, they can totally tell you that no, you're lying. Like, we're going to give you this much because this is what we think. And that even the bank in
yeah,
that case, like, yeah, no, we're whole. Like, we got our interest. We're good. We like this guy. Please don't do this on behalf of us.
yeah,
So that case was crap. And then you had uh, deranged Jack Smith down in Florida and Fani Willis down. That was, yeah, Fannie Willis down there, I think in Georgia, right? And then her lover. And so anyway, like all those court cases, man, I mean, it was very clear that there's a lot of activism. It was all based on uh, political uh, lawfare, right?
yeah,
And not really based on fact in any means, in any sense of the any sense of the meaning of the word fact, right? So anyway, now we have these activist judges. So you got the one that got arrested for housing an actual Tren de Aragua uh, illegal immigrant in their home. Did you hear about that?
yeah. I've heard. Yeah, there's been a couple of them.
Yeah. So there's that one, and then there was another one where they had an illegal immigrant in court, and the judge saw that ICE was there, and basically directed this illegal immigrant out the back door in order to evade arrest from ICE. So that person gets arrested, and then now Democrats are up in a tizzy saying that this is fascism, and all that. Again, same Hitler au- autocratic nonsense, right?
Yep.
But but just a couple weeks ago, months ago, I mean, hell, they'll probably say it right now because they have no idea what's going on. Honestly, nobody's above the law, right? So what about judges? Are judges above the law?
Not supposed to be. Definitely
I mean,
not supposed to be.
that's kind of one of the people you want to make sure isn't above the law, right? Because they're the ones that can
Yeah.
absolutely abuse some power and
Mhm.
really cause some problems. I mean, we had a judge back home that was involved with some local gangs, and um, it was real bad whenever that came out because it was like the judge and the DA, and they got caught with some cocaine or something at a cabin, and because I think one of them OD'd or something, or I don't really know all of everything that happened with that. So, but yeah, so we had these judges are just these activist judges, and it really comes down to, for the last 4 years, it's been FA, right? They've just been FA without consequence whatsoever. Now it's time. It's FO time, right? And so they're continuing what they've been doing for the last couple years, and it's not going to work anymore. Trump's not going to let that fly. So,
Sorry. Having some
oh
issues
yeah,
there.
no worries, man. Yeah, so yeah, the judges in the country are hopefully they'll realize that this is not going to continue. Like, if you break the law, you will be held accountable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you should be 100%. You should be held accountable. That's how our system works. That's without that, we're just a worthless society. If we don't hold people accountable, if we don't have responsible conversation, and I think I saw a video, Charlie Kirk said it best. A sign of a well-evolved society is the fact that we don't need to go to violence to prove our points. We can have
Yeah.
honest debates, and we can have an actual discussion back and forth and try to understand these differences. And part of that goes down to just, don't break the law. That's part of it. That's part of us understanding that there is a law for a reason. If you want it changed, you need to take the proper steps and go through the proper channels to change it. You don't just get to make up what you want and enforce what you want just because you have a chance at a little bit of power. If you're a judge, you don't get to just say who's guilty and not guilty because you want to, because you just decide willy-nilly. No, there's a process. You have juries. There's a whole reason for all of these things. And if you don't respect it, you don't respect the system, it'll fail. And then we're screwed at that point.
Yeah, I saw the same video too. I think he was debating a guy that basically came up there and said and challenged him to a fist fight, and he,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Challenge Charlie
I'm
Kirk.
not going to do that, man. Like,
Yeah.
I
There's no
mean,
need
and
to.
the guy was 60 or something. He's like, so yeah, I'd kick your ass anyway, but he's like, I'm not. Why
Yeah.
would I do that?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. There's
and
no
it's
no need to.
It's the typical response from the left, man. He even said that in that video. It's their typical
Yeah.
reaction to, like, I can't debate based on facts because all of my views are based on emotion, and that doesn't work well with fact. So
Yep.
instead, I'm gonna let emotion get the better of me once again, and then I'm gonna do something violent, right?
Yeah.
Summer of Love, all the Tesla stuff that's going on.
Yep.
Honestly, I think January 6th, there, like, what happened there, a lot of that was Antifa. I
Yeah.
mean, Antifa was at every other Trump rally, but they weren't at that one, right? And
Yeah.
you see the same things happening.
Yeah. They were there.
Yeah, I mean, they were the ones that were fighting with the police and doing all that in order to give the media and all that and also the police the justification to use varying levels of force on the crowd. They also wanted that session to stop because what people fail to remember is that what was happening at that point wasn't the certification of the election. Like, that's what they were discussing, but what was actually being done at that time were conservative Republicans um, suggesting that they create a bipartisan committee to look into the claims of the election fraud. That's
Yeah.
actually what was happening at the time. And they were going to take a vote on it, and it was likely that that was going to pass. But because of what happened, of them getting into the Capitol and all that, you had a lot of other Republicans that backed out and said, no, we're going to do this to heal our country and all that. Which, if you had really thought that what happened was an actual coup, then yeah, absolutely, that's what you do. But now that we know hindsight 2020, that was Antifa that really sparked the flame, and if
The
not
Antifa
Antifa,
sparked everything. Yeah.
government actors
Yeah.
as well, because that's what they do. I mean, there's a lot of videos from even the Summer of Love, the George Floyd riots and all that, of people dressed in all black just going through and busting windows out.
Random windows. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
just to get people riled up,
Yep. It's
So
real easy to slip on a mask and do some damage and cause some problems and then slip away into a crowd full of masked people,
yeah. Well, and you
It's
see the same thing with under Biden. Now, we didn't have Summer of Love under Biden, but what we did have was there every once in a while there would be this parade of white supremacists that were completely covered from head to toe. Remember those people?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just happened to like that's again, it's not really something that you're gonna see. That's kind of it's an operation. And the things that they did, I mean, there were several instances where it was like, yeah, this is clearly a psyop. This is clearly a false flag operation. So
Yeah.
those are always fun.
Yeah.
But oh man, we gotta look at COVID.gov. Have you seen COVID.gov, Mitch?
No. What is it?
Hey man, it's a new era. I'll pull it up here.
I'm looking
It's
at
a
it now.
new era.
The
Okay, here we go.
origin.
All right, here, let me share my screen here. And then we'll go to, is it screen 2? No. Screen 1. All right. COVID.gov. Oh, man. Putting the truth out there, man. The true origins of COVID-19. This is official. This is an official government website. Okay. I love this because it has the breakdown of everything. It talks about I mean, it's got it all. Oh, look, the Anthony Fauci pardon. Man, it's almost like that guy really didn't need a pardon, but yet he was given one anyway. And so there's the whole history, all the different facts of the matter. There's a whole report on it. Whitehouse.gov /COVID-19. Oh, no, it's COVID.gov. Sorry. COVID.gov. I'm just making up URLs in my head. Anyway. Yeah, check that out. If you haven't seen that, that's pretty cool.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people still think it was this natural thing when there's no evidence to really, there's very little evidence to support that it was something that didn't come out of a lab, right? And it's so weird. I mean, I've had COVID, you've had COVID too, right, Mitch?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. We've all had COVID, and we've all heard the stories of the different side effects that COVID has on people. And that's just not a common thing. Like, the flu has some symptoms and it's the flu, but you had people saying that, like, oh, my mental acuity was being disrupted by this virus. And it's like, that doesn't happen to everybody. What, like, that's That seems like
Lost
that's
sense of
something else.
taste and smell. That was a
Loss of
big one
taste
that
and
got
smell.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's not a normal flu symptom.
yeah.
I mean, maybe to some degree, but not to like where you can't taste a lemon or smell a skunk, you know?
Right, right. And then different people having different symptoms too. I mean, that just always
Oh
bothered me.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
always bothered me.
30,000 symptoms. Every
Yeah.
symptom that is possible for any other disease is also a COVID symptom.
And part of that was that it was monetized, right? I mean, if the hospital said that they had a COVID case, they got government money for it.
Yeah.
That should stop. I mean, that should have never happened. But whenever there's a financial incentive, like that's like when they were labeling motorcycle deaths as COVID deaths,
Yeah.
you know? It's like,
Yeah, there was a
no.
lot of fudging of numbers to
Yeah, and then they just made up
just
numbers.
push the narrative and yeah, all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
It was yeah,
And then
none
you
of it was
had
any good.
actual evil people like Gretchen Whitmer and Cuomo over in New
Yep,
York putting
Cuomo.
these
Yeah.
sick people into nursing homes. Like
Yep.
the most vulnerable. Here's an idea: we got a bunch of sick people. Let's put them with the most vulnerable in our in our society. Like, come on, man. I mean, some viruses are more lethal for certain ages, right? I mean, obviously with COVID, it was the higher, the older you were, the number of comorbidities, basically. Well, and that was the thing with the COVID deaths that I always found interesting. I think the average was like 3 or 4 comorbidities for anybody that died from COVID. So you had other things wrong with you
Yeah.
that could have killed you on average 3 to 4.
Yeah.
And but it's COVID that killed you? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. And now I never really heard a lot about autoimmune disorders, especially in younger people. But I'll tell you, after COVID and after all the vaccines and everything, people that got vaccinated, I've heard a lot about autoimmune disorders.
I
And that
couldn't tell you how many people I know that have been diagnosed with autoimmune disorders. I was literally just talking to a nurse yesterday who had been diagnosed and was going to have her first round of treatment for her autoimmune disorder. And she was a nurse. She was one of those ones that was
oh yeah.
forced to get the vaccine, was not with it, didn't, I don't believe it's voluntarily to my knowledge. But yeah, I mean, can we prove it? No, we'll never be able to prove it. But
Well, not right
I
now you
mean,
can't.
I don't know that you'll ever be able to prove it. Will you see bumps in graphs and statistics? I think so. I think you'll see an uptick in certain amounts of uh, certain death relate or certain related deaths. Different heart problems and things like that, more autoimmune diseases, more cancers, I believe, are going to pop up in a society where we're trying to clean up and be a healthier society. I think we're actually going to see more sickness in the future.
That's another thing that we didn't have on our list tonight, but did happen last week. They banned all those other food dyes
Yes.
by
Yep.
the end of 2026. So,
Yeah.
people
That's
that
not a bad thing.
no, not at all. Um, it was like RF because RFK gave us now. You may not like RFK, right? But and you may think that he's not qualified for the job. Now he has come around on some of the vaccines. Surprisingly, I think it was the measles vaccine. He was saying that yeah, that's probably one that people need to have.
Yeah.
Versus being completely anti-vax altogether.
Yeah.
And I
There
think
are vaccines out there that
yeah,
have a proven track record.
yeah, yeah, but I think you still have to be careful because it takes nothing for some bad actor to do something with that, right? Because once you start blindly trusting things, that's when you have severe vulnerability. That was the whole trust the science thing,
Yeah.
right? Trust science, trust science, trust science.
Trust the
Don't ask
doctors.
questions. Trust the science. Wear a mask. Well, that's not what the
Trust the
science says. No,
doctors.
trust the science,
The doctors know
right?
best.
Yeah. And
The
so
doctors
there
didn't know
has
any
to be a
better than
balance
we
there.
did.
There has to be a balance there, but you can't just be a lemming and just go along with everything that everybody says. I was talking with my boss this week, and she mentioned something about um, like getting second opinions from the doctor because she's like, look, you have to remember that there's all these doctors in the world and in the country, and a lot of them are C students.
Yeah.
Like they passed with a C. So don't just blindly trust your doctor to tell you what's wrong with you and diagnose you because they probably, they might be a C student and you probably need to go to
Yeah.
at least a B student in order to get the right
Well,
treatment, right?
and they're humans, right? We all make mistakes. We all
Also true.
can make bad judgment, So that's a thing that I'm going through right now. The doctor's like, it could be anything from a pulled muscle to a heart attack. That's a pretty big variation of things.
Right.
Like I like you to narrow it down just a little bit. But that's where it's being a doctor is having enough knowledge to make a good educated guess. You don't know almost, I mean, testing can help prove things, but as an actual doctor, you're making an educated guess. You're guessing on what tests need to be ran. You're guessing on the problem and on how to test for that problem. Doctors don't know everything. They don't magically know what's wrong with you. They don't magically know how to cure you necessarily. Like you said, second opinions, third opinions, especially on important things, big major surgeries. Yeah, get second, third opinions. 100%. Because, yeah, C students, they put a D on that final exam, but they had an A the rest of the year. They squeaked through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe they were really good at diagnosing all the other things except for the thing that you have wrong with you, right? And
yeah,
that's the one that they failed. But it all averaged out. So, you know,
yeah. Yeah, maybe they're really good on seeing stuff on paper and solving problems on paper, but when it comes to sticking a knife in you, mm,
right?
I
Yeah.
think twice about that shaky hand.
Yeah, so I think it's always good, obviously, to question and get the second opinion because we all can't be experts on everything. Like
Absolutely.
we were talking about the space capsule and all that, and we're both talking like, yeah, well, maybe this, maybe that, but I'm clearly not
We don't
a
know.
physicist or a rocket scientist, right?
Yeah,
So that's why I'm like, man, I need to go learn more about that specifically. Like, what's that particular instance?
yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely. And push yourself to learn more. It doesn't hurt you.
yeah.
It's good to learn more things.
Well, hey, I mean, there's all the information in the world at the finger of your at your fingertips at any given time. So
Absolutely. The more
there's
you know.
yeah, I mean, no reason not to. Just go learn, and have an opinion. But you
Yeah.
gotta remember too, just if you spend an hour on Google searching for stuff, there's a med student that spent 6 months researching that particular thing. So
Yeah.
there's levels to it, as with everything else.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Always
But yeah.
consult your professionals.
Oh man, this is in Maryland? Man, did you hear about the case in the Supreme Court with the Maryland schools?
No.
So apparently Maryland. Remember, we were talking about Maryland earlier with the illegal immigrants
Yeah.
raping and murdering people, and then their senator and all that. So apparently, there's this case that came before the Supreme Court this week where these parents of the Maryland school district were suing a Maryland school district were suing and trying to get the option for their kids to opt out of learning about um, transgender LGBTQ curriculum. And they previously had the option to opt out of that. Now you're talking about we're talking about kindergartners, okay? We're not talking about high school, and even then, there's an argument to be made there. But we're talking about kindergarten, okay? And they're reading these. They're not as graphic as some of the other ones that have been out there, but they are very much like forcing this idea of LGBTQ, transgenderism, and all that down children's very susceptible children. And the thing is that in this Maryland school district previously, they had the option. The parents had the option to opt out of this, their kids, which I mean, this is the parents' rights thing, right? Do you have a right to say what your kid learns in school? And they changed it without notice. They just said, "Oh no, your kids have to accept whatever we want to teach them. Can't opt out of it any longer." And so it went up to the Supreme Court, and seems like there was a pretty favorable distribution on that. So we'll probably get. I don't know if they actually had a ruling or not. I just heard about it that it was going before them. But it seems like some of the justices, even on the left, are like, yeah, this probably can't force parents to have their kids go through curriculum that and they're claiming religious exemption, right? So they're saying, well, this is against my religion. Like clearly in the Bible, there's a lot of like anti-LGBTQ stuff, especially when it comes to like transgenderism and all that. So that's what they're saying, is that, it's violating their rights by forcing their children to go through it. Now, most of the judges agree, except for Ketanji Brown Jackson, that one that Biden got in there. She was saying that, oh, well, you should just put your kids in private school then, or homeschool them. So that shows you. I mean, when we talk about activist judges, does that sound like a statement from like a rational person who doesn't have a political agenda that they're trying to promote? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So
Yeah, it really is ridiculous at this point. I don't even know what to say. It's people are out of control. People are just insane nowadays. What people think is okay for our children to be exposed to is insane, and I just cannot agree with it on any level.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
just
we're talking about kindergarten. There's no way.
it shouldn't be a thing in elementary school at all.
It's
Yeah.
I mean,
but-
you're talking about trying to just even the concepts themselves about sexual identity and sexual preference and all that. Who wants to talk to a kindergartner about sexual preference? And I will show you a pedophile. Okay. That's how we really need to start treating these people. It's like, oh, you want to talk to a child that's in kindergarten, 6-year-old, about their sexual preferences? Yeah. You're a pedophile. And if there was any justice in this world,
you'd
be
monitored.
behind bars, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't be long for this world, or worse. Let's just go with that.
I agree.
I'm like, dude, how is this even a thing? And then to have a Supreme Court justice to just, that's what we should be doing. That's what we should do. We should force that down your children's throats. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, we stole your tax dollars, but you're going to have to just teach your child at home. A Supreme Court justice. That's a fucking disgrace.
It is. It is completely. It's.
The children's where I
I don't
draw the
know.
line, man. I
That's
mean,
where I draw the
I'm
line
all,
too. Yeah.
I'm all about like, hey, whatever you want to do at home, if you want to do that, that's cool. If you want to chop your dick off, you want to chop your tits off, do whatever, more power to you if you're, a consenting adult. If and especially I think, really that should be at like ages 25 or older, just because science, if you want to follow the science, your brain isn't fully developed until your mid 20s, early 30s. So, you really can't make that kind of decision, the long term, and I understand that long term consequences at 18. But, whenever it comes to children, whenever it comes to like trying to force this down the children's throats, that's that's where a lot of people draw the line. And and it's a very firm line. I can promise you, if somebody ever came up to one of my kids and tried to talk to them about their sexual preferences, I'll tell you how fast I'll be in jail, and that person will not be in this world any longer. You
Oh
know,
yeah. And,
I
and, and
mean,
it's
there's no, I mean, there's no question about it. You don't even think twice. All you think of is, hey, look, there's a predator that's after my child. That's what these people are. They are predators. Okay. And if you're a parent, you have to act like a parent. You have to protect your child from the predators that are out there in this world. Because there are some really evil and sick fucking people in this world that want nothing more than to corrupt the innocence of a child. And we're
yeah.
letting it happen. And there's a Supreme Court justice who is helping to facilitate it, wanting to facilitate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell you
It's
that that's not going to happen. I'm just
that ain't gonna
it
happen
ain't going
here.
to
That's
happen.
for sure. Yeah. It's. I mean, they're gonna have a lot of pushback. It's gonna come down to the states. It's gonna have to.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
have
just.
pitchforks and torches, man, in the streets. You know,
Yeah.
you try if you try and force that down people's throat. I think that every once in a while, the government, the powers that be, seem to forget that there are way more of us than there are of them. And if they want to try to force something that is, and this was the same thing with the COVID vaccines, when they started forcing people to do it, to get it, or lose their job, whenever Biden weaponized OSHA to try to achieve that,
Yeah.
that's when I think they realized that, like, man, we're on the verge of something really bad happening because people aren't going to stand for that. You're going to make me lose my job because I wouldn't inject myself with a experimental drug that you just developed within, and you have complete uh um exclusion or whatever. Like, you can't damn, man, I keep forgetting the damn word. But yeah, you can't be sued if this negatively impacts me or whatever, but yet you're going to force it down my throat, and then you just created it last week, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh yeah. Anyway, people, it's not going to happen with the kids. So.
No. No. Not at all. Not at all.
Can't
uh.
let it happen with the
I.
kids.
Yeah. We're coming up on the hour mark. Did you? What else did you have? Did you want to go over? Did you have anything
Yeah,
else you
real
wanted to
quick,
go
just a
over?
couple. Yeah, so I've got a couple videos, and then we want to do our sponsor plug as well. Well, not our sponsor, but our affiliate plug as well. So let's do our affiliate plug, and then we'll do a couple videos, and then
Yeah.
I got to open up some magic cards again this week. I have to open up another one, so then I'll do that. We'll end it on that. Okay,
Yeah. Sounds good.
sounds good. All right. So first things first, affiliate is thealexjonesstore.com/no nonsense tonight. Go on thealexjonesstore.com/ and use that link, no nonsense tonight. And um and
Help support us too.
yeah. Yep. Yeah. So here, let me pull that up, because I was actually I got this. Speaking of all the astronauts and everything, I got this cool Space Force. Cool Space Force. This is an older design from the AlexJonesStore.com. But they do have some. I think they have the hoodie actually. So here, let me add this up here. So yeah, they've got the Space Force hoodie. They don't have the t-shirt anymore, but they have the hoodie. So you can get that. Man, I don't think that they have I don't know if they have a current giveaway or not. Let me check. Maybe they do are giving away a Cybertruck.
Cybertruck looks like. Plus $10,000 cash.
Plus $10,000. Yeah, Alex Jones. Look how awesome that is, dude. Man, I'm not even really. I mean, love it or hate the Cybertruck. To have that 1776 across the side with the flag like that, I think it probably has it says Alex Jones edition on it. Man, that's pretty cool. And yeah, so any money that you spend on the site will get you entered into that. Pretty sure that's going on right now. This is also a pretty cool one. The whole thing with Alex Jones is he whenever he said they're turning the frogs gay. He got this Save the Frogs collectible plush. So that's a good one. Trump 2028. That was another one. Mitch, did you hear about Trump put that on his website? A Trump 2028 hat. And
no.
yeah, so not on his campaign website, but I think on his personal website, he has a Trump 2028 hat, and the libs just melted down over it. He's clearly trolling people with that, and it's awesome. So I think I'm going to get me one of those. Anyway, so that's cool. Yeah, go use the link on there, and buy some stuff from there, and then we get a little bit from that, a little bit of kickback. And we really appreciate that. And again, if you win a vehicle, you win that Cybertruck, definitely let us know because that would be pretty awesome if someone from us grabbed that. So let's hop into some lib nonsense from the week. These videos, man, I'm telling you, pretty awesome. So. Here we go. This is from Nancy Mace. I don't know if you saw this or not, but I got to play this at full volume so that way you hear it. So here, check this out. This is hilarious.
Yeah, I saw this.
Now listen to the lady in the hat. Okay. Now listen to what she says here in a second.
We don't have any audio. We can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it?
I mean, barely. It's lower than a whisper. Check your computer audio.
Yeah.
That was louder. We heard that.
Okay, so I would like to apologize, but it is derogatory and
Oh, yeah. Of course the fucking
Did you hear the pitch? You hear the pitch change?
Yeah, dropping 8 octaves.
Well, yeah.
That boy went to an oboe real quick. It's ridiculous. What people think they should be able to get away with is unreal.
Do you find the term tranny offensive? Well, yeah. Reminds me of Officer Doofy from the Scary Movie. What would I put on my roof? Oh man, okay. And then lastly, this is cool because this is related to kind of what we talked about. I don't know. Have you seen these Freedom Tunes, Mitch?
I've heard about them. I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. I watched this. This was kind of related to our topic of the night. So let's check this out.
Extra, extra! Trump deported a U.S. citizen who didn't even break the law.
No way! Really?
Yeah. Okay, but did that really happen? Well, technically, he was an undocumented U.S. citizen, and he did break the law, but only in the sense that arson is still illegal. Technically.
Technically.
Well,
Oops.
I'm already feeling emotions, so none of those distinctions matter.
What? The story was a complete lie.
This is
A lie? Because of some technicality?
Technicality.
How about this? Trump deported a community organizer even though they were born here and never broke the law. Just because they were Hispanic.
Oh my gosh, I'm so emotional about
so
that.
emotional.
And when you say he was born here... The world.
The world.
He was born in this world. Human like the rest of us. Technically.
Technically.
And he wasn't in a gang?
Well.
Oh, I get it. When white people do it, it's community organizing. But when a Venezuelan does it, he's in MS-13, technically.
Yeah, seriously.
You've got to be kidding me. Oh, you just want to blow that off? Well, how's this, you monster? Trump deported an aspiring nuclear physicist whose family had been here since the Mayflower, simply because he got a tan last summer and looked a little brown. I feel I need to ask for clarity.
Clarity? I think it's clear you're going to have.
By here since the Mayflower, do you mean he's of Aztec descent? He was also technically a child trafficker. We're done here. Just another uninformed voter with his fake news.
Thank you for watching. If you could help us make more by becoming a member at freedomtunes.com, it would be a huge help.
Yeah, give them a shout out. They have a lot of cool videos on there. And I love how they do that. Because it really is exactly how all that works. Hey,
Yeah, 100%.
we're gonna create a story and then create a bunch of add a bunch of lies to it.
Yep, false narratives, embellish the hell out of it.
Yep, and then
Send it to press.
technically,
World works on technicalities, unfortunately.
then you have people that are well, now my emotions got the best of me, so now I'm reacting. There's a whole thing in persuasion about that. There's a central model and then there's a peripheral route. The central route, peripheral route. And most people are persuaded by peripheral things such as the way it makes them feel, the way it looks. Is it shiny? Is it pretty? Versus the actual facts of the matter. And it makes sense because there's a lot in this world and we couldn't possibly ever, analyze every little thing.
It's a lot easier to feel away than it is to think away.
Yeah.
Feelings seem much more natural to us.
And if you think about how overwhelmed people are in today's society, especially with the internet and their phones and the computers and all the social media stuff, and then all the sports and everything, like that was the thing from the beginning, right? The Romans and the Colosseums, like keep them happy with what was it like
with games and shows
and games and bread or something like that, right? And keep them fat and distracted with that, and then they won't be a problem, right? It's kind of the same thing because now they're just doing it to a lot of different ways to where it overwhelms the senses to where you don't really have time to look into those things. So that's why, honestly, that was one of the reasons why we decided we wanted to do this show, was because there's a lot of that. I mean, we're talking about moving at the speed of Trump, right? And that's we talked about a lot, right? In an hour's time. That all happened this week, and it felt like a slow week just because of how fast everything's been going in the world. We didn't even talk about tariffs tonight, right?
No, there was a lot we didn't touch on.
Yeah, and you could totally fill up just an hour on tariffs alone. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna do this opening real quick, and then actually one thing I wanted to note is that we're gonna actually do, because we don't have enough time on the on this show to do enough Magic the Gathering related stuff. So we're going to be doing a Friday night Magic After Dark show, and it's going to be Fridays from 9:30 Eastern to 10:30, 11. You know, however long we
Try to
want to
get in
do
a
it.
game or two or whatever we need to do.
Yep. Yep.
Discuss strategies, open cards, all those great things we're going to talk about.
Yep. So yeah, we'll do that. And let me see. Is this the? Oh yeah. Set to the stage. Swap it out. Yeah, and then so we'll do a bunch of pack openings, like I've been saying the last couple weeks. You know, I've got all these cards to open, all these packs to open. I've just been wanting. I was originally wanting to do it during this podcast, but honestly, it doesn't really fit as well, especially with the kind of the topics that we talk about. So a little bit towards the end is fine, just for fun. But a whole show of we'll play some, like Mitch said, we'll play some arena. We might do some spell table as well. So we'll actually play actual matches against each other, do openings, talk about news and everything. So there's a lot that we will do with that, and yeah, so working on that now. That won't be on the Bill of Rights Network. So if you're watching on Bill of Rights or on those channels, we won't be on there just because the content really doesn't fit that network anyway, because that's not really what the content is. This show, it really does fit that well. So, but yeah, the Magic cards and all that, the games and everything, that'll be different. That'll be we'll put some information on that on our Rumble channel and on our X as well, so that way you know where to find that. But we're looking at launching that next week. Been working on getting all that set up in the background. So we got some really cool things that we're going to be doing. I just want to give you all a heads up on that. All right. So a couple things with this. So I've got actually this week, if you didn't get the Deadpool cards ordered from Secret Lair during the April Pools event on April 1st, this week they actually did a relaunch in some of the local game stores that are certified with Wizards. I can't remember exactly what they call them, but basically some stores started got some shipments in on Friday, and so you can actually, if your local game store still has some of these, you can actually go pick these up. So my brother wanted some cards, and I said, well, I was going to get one anyway to try and pull another Blacker Lotus. If you remember, I opened 2 packs, I think last week, and did not get the Blacker Lotus, unfortunately. So I'm going to open this up here in a second just to see if we get a Blacker Lotus. Man, I can't tell you how hyped I will be if I pull.
That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing.
Blacker Lotus. Yeah, it would be awesome. But anyway, so I didn't just buy another one. Like, this is gonna go to my brother actually, and then so he's gonna pay for the set, but I'm gonna open it, and if I get the Blacker Lotus, it's mine. So this is the agreement that we have. Okay. I got some cards in the mail today too. I've been putting together some decks and buying singles. So here's some things that came in the mail today. We've got Gaia's Touch. I don't know. Mitch, are you able to read that actually?
No, I was gonna say, can you bump up the brightness on that? Like your whole everything's a little bit too dark.
A little bit too dark. Yeah, give me a second here, and then I'll try to do that.
Swap out some of your lighting.
Let's see if that works. Well, if I make it too bright, then it comes off the card. So yeah, there's just a lot of text there. But this one is called Gaia's Touch, and it's play an additional land each turn, but that land must be a basic forest, and then you can sacrifice it to add 2 green to your mana pool, which is really cool. So that's Gaia's Touch. And then this other one, Dragon Speaker Shaman. Dragon spells cost you 2 less to cast. So I'm actually working on a dragon deck right now. So that's the Dragon Speaker Shaman.
Yeah, that stuff's hard to see.
Yeah, you know, I had it all set up, and then I don't know. This is called. Let me see. Actually, let me try this. I mean, I might get some more light here, but
That's slowly an improvement.
yeah, it's about. I don't know. I mean, this is what I've always got, but this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really see it, can you? I'm gonna have to do better. Well, it is in plastic too, but this is the Turgrid God of Fright. It says whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-target permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So if you get a deck where you can get your opponent to discard cards into their graveyard, then you can use that to put cards out on the battlefield under your control, which is nice. And then I've got here Mana Crypt or Mana Vault. Sorry, this one it's an oldie, but it's a goodie. Tap, add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool. Now it doesn't untap normally during your untap phase, and you have to pay 4 mana during your upkeep. And if you don't, then it deals 1 damage to you. So, but that's a nice card. A lot of mana ramp options there. Working on a couple different decks, so mana ramp's important. And that one, like I said, oldie, but a good one. Let me see if I can actually maybe zoom in a little bit with this. Give you all a little bit better view. I had a whole thing, man, where I had to install Google Chrome, or not Google Chrome, Windows 11, and it was a whole thing. So, yeah, I can zoom in, but it's still. I'm gonna have to play with the settings a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be something in your lighting that you're gonna have to work with, some kind of diffuse.
Yeah, well, they're also in plat. Yeah. We'll play with it. We'll get it right. I've had it set up in the past, but yeah, I did some updates and kind of lost my settings there. So we'll play with it. We'll get it right to where you're able to actually see what's going on there. I have a 4K camera up there, so I don't understand why it's even a problem. But anyway, let's see if we get the Blacker Lotus. No, this is actually happening. Can you read that?
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
can
being
read
part of
that.
this. Remember, we did this. It's like deja vu.
Right. I'm here this time.
All right, let's see. I'm not gonna go through all the cards again, just because I already did that. But Deadpool, Deadly Rollick, Saw in Half. I already know I didn't get Blasphemous Act. Harmless Offering. Wah wah wah. Oh well. At least it's foiled, so that's cool. It's a foiled Harmless Offering. It is a pretty cool card. I mean, it target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. And so I got another card that I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically there's 4 things, and each turn the card does one of those 4 things, but it can only do one of those things once, right? And so like one of them's like draw a card, and another one's gain 2 life, another one's destroy a creature. But the last one is you lose the game, right? And so it says at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose the game. This is whenever this triggers. So the idea is you have that, you play that card, and then it's on the field for 3. Yeah, and then on your turn, you play Harmless Offering and make a not so harmless offering, and then put it over to them. And if they can't destroy that enchantment, they lose the game on their turn. So
yeah,
yeah, it's been fun watching some of the combos and everything that are out there. But just learning about all this stuff. So anyway, more of that to come. Like I said, we're actually going to play some games, and we'll actually open it up to where other people can play with us as well. We'll look into doing that, and do a different theme show. So we won't be talking about politics or current happenings or anything like that. It'll be all just magic.
A little bit more fun, a little bit more entertaining, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it'll be entertaining. That's for sure.
Yeah. For that group, for sure.
All right. Well, that's all I got, man.
That's all I
You got
got. Yeah.
final words? No.
That's what I was gonna say. You got any final words? I think you took them right out of my mouth. Like James said, everybody, we got the new Magic show coming. We'll keep you updated on that. Thank you for joining us here on No Nonsense tonight. We had a wonderful night, and we'll see you next weekend.
Y'all have a good one.